Okay, the main objective for today, oh, by the way, welcome to the Friday fishing forecast. It's Friday morning. It's a beautiful morning. You can see it's slick, calm. This weekend, it looks like it's going to be a beautiful weekend. Thank God. For once, we're not going to have 20-mile-an-hour winds. But anyway, my main objective for today is to get out and catch bait. Chad and I are going to go offshore tomorrow to about 90-something feet of water. We're going to buddy boat it with another friend of ours. We're going to go out there and see what we can catch. We're going to see if we can get into some yellowfin tuna, all kinds of different things. So hopefully we have a good day tomorrow. I think we will. But my main objective right now is to go out and catch bait, catch pinfish for tomorrow, and then I'm going to catch white bait and chop that up so we have a lot of cut bait for tomorrow. I really can't keep white bait alive at the office, so I'm just going to use that, cut it up, have that ready for tomorrow, and then we'll catch live bait tomorrow on the way out. So my main objective, like I said, is to catch pinfish and white bait for today, so we have it for tomorrow. Right now, it's like I said, it's glass calm out here, and I can already see the bait dimpling behind me, and I just threw out a tiny little bit of chum, so I don't think the bait's going to be hard at all. So let's get to it. All right, well, what I'm doing here, folks, is I've got a ledge that's just off to my port, and I'm using the 1/8 slacker jig and letting it go down naturally because this tide is not moving very much at all. I've got the dolphin pinger in the water because the dolphin showed up, so I put that in the water. And you might see them out in the distance. They're coming up and blowing really hard because she's mad because she can't get to me catching fish. There, she came right up there. But when they come up high like that, that means they're really ticked off and they're blowing really hard because they can't get to, they don't want to come close to the boat. So, but what I'm doing is just naturally letting it go down. I'm sitting in 34 feet of water. Missed that one. Oop, there's another bump. Oh. Just like that. Just taking this small little slacker jig, 1/8 ounce. We do 1/8 and 3/32. And I actually had a captain friend of mine send me some photos the other day of them catching big mangrove snapper in 90 feet of water. So that's what Chad and I are going to try tomorrow. I caught plenty of bait for us to chum with, plenty of pinfish. So we're going to give it a shot offshore tomorrow. So basically what I'm doing is taking this bait and hooking it just like this. Take a piece of weed off of it and dropping it down. Now it's so calm that I don't even have to count off. I can watch my line and see it either bounce or take off. Just like that. Feels like a snapper. Yep. Snap them. See, yeah, she's coming up. She's ticked off because she can't get close to they won't get close to the boat with the dolphin pinger. Now I know that there's a couple dolphins that it doesn't seem to bother. One is at the skyway, one is at the port. And I think those are older dolphins because their sonar is not catching it. But like these young ones, this mom with this little baby here, they won't come near the boat with it. So it does work. Don't, you know, it's not 100% foolproof, but it works enough to keep those fish or those dolphins away from the fish. That fish was just sitting there with it. He didn't want to, he never moved, nothing. He just sat there with it. I never saw the line bounce or anything. So when you feel that you're close to the bottom or on the bottom, kind of feel it. See, just pull up just a little bit, see if you feel any pressure. But these slacker jigs are perfect for this kind of situation, to where the tide is very, very, very slow right now, and we're going to have a slow tide this weekend, real slow incoming tide. So what I suggest is that you know, lighten it up as much as you possibly can, because if you lighten it up, it gives it a more natural presentation, and as you can see, you're going to catch fish.
I'm out here using my electronics like you taught me, and boom, you're there. How's it going?
Good. How about yourself?
Good.
Good.
Name's Damon, by the way. We've met several times.
Okay, Damon Gas?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate.
I just got the chum bucket thing from you.
I appreciate the support.
Yeah, no, you're awesome. So
Very much.
I'm gonna give you space. I'm just.
Oh, you're
fine.
fine. You're fine. You can fish right next to me. I don't care.
Thanks, Todd. See you.
All right. Thank you. Not the biggest fish in the world, but you know what? It's a fish, and that's all that matters. That tide is now starting to pick up. Within a couple of minutes, that tide's picking up to the point to where I may have to abandon using the slacker, because the tide is moving quicker now. So the quicker that tide moves, the harder it is to get this slacker down. But I'm going to use it as long as I possibly can. Talking about tides, let's go ahead and get into the Friday fishing forecast. Talk about the tides, the solunar, the weather, everything that's in store for this Memorial Day weekend. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful weekend for us here in Florida, so looking forward to it. Let's get into the Friday fishing forecast. So folks, let's go ahead and get into the tides and solunars for this weekend. Okay, on Saturday we have a long incoming tide until 2:56 p.m. at a 2.79 foot. And then it turns and starts to go out, and will go out until 11:30 p.m. to a negative 0.43 foot. Then on Sunday, we have another long incoming tide till 3:46 p.m. at a 2.59 foot. So it's a very long incoming tide. Let's go to Monday. Monday's the same way. It's a very long incoming tide until 4:45 p.m. at a 2.32 foot. So the tides this weekend aren't conducive for like inshore fishing for snook, redfish, and trout. What I would recommend is that you want to make sure that you hit it on those sollunar times, because that's when these fish are going to eat. Today on Friday, there's barely any tide as it is right now, and it's a much better tide today than it is for the rest of the weekend. So if you're going to do grouper and snapper inside the bay, or even offshore, you're going to go fishing for offshore, that tide's going to be really slow, so it's going to give you an opportunity to chum a lot. And that's why I went out and got I got 2.5 buckets full of bait that I'm going to cut up and use for bait and for chum for our offshore fishing this weekend. So let's go ahead and talk about the solunars and talk about when they're going to be happening. And you want to make sure that you're set up in a good place to be prepared for that major and minor feeding time. Okay, here are the solunars for this weekend. On Saturday, we have a minor feeding time from 9:08 to 10:08 a.m. And then we have a major feeding time from 3:54 p.m. to 5:54 p.m. On Sunday, we have a minor feeding time from 10:13 a.m. to 11:13 a.m. Then we have our major feeding time from 4:52 p.m. to 6:52 p.m. Then on Monday, we have a major feeding time from our minor from 11:17 a.m. to 12:17 p.m. And then we have a major from 5:45 to 7:45 p.m. So like I said, this weekend, the weather looks absolutely awesome. There's a slight chance of rain on Monday, and I think we're gonna get into more of a natural summer time pattern with the rains in the afternoon. We need the rain badly. It's horrible. But I think the fishing's going to be pretty good, especially offshore and inside Tampa Bay, fishing for grouper and snapper. As you saw earlier, I was using the slacker jig. I was hooking up on fish. So the bite was definitely good this morning, and I'm about to head back into the office, but I'm going to fish a little bit more, try a couple of different spots and see what I can do. All right, what I did is came to a spot and never fished here before, but I marked it and it's got fish on it. Ooh, cubed up with something. Like I've said, if you find something that it looks different, stop and fish it. It doesn't hurt to drop the bait down, because you either A, catch a fish or you don't. But this will give you the opportunity to find more areas, because this is just a hard bottom area. By looking at it, there's a couple of things that I saw that stood out a little bit, but not much. It was something that I really had to stop and look at. So I got the boat positioned correctly, got over the structure. The structure's right behind me because the tide's coming in. Dropped it down with a 1 ounce, got to it, and boom, caught that grouper. So if you see something on your machine that looks off, fish it. It doesn't hurt to fish it. Just stop, drop. If you get something, great. If you don't, move on. Okay, this is what I wanted to talk to you about. This is what I'm looking at. If you see this little spot right here, that's exactly what I'm looking at. That little spot right there is indicating to me that there's hard bottom. See how thin this line has gotten right here? It's very, very hard bottom. And that's where I was just sitting to catch these fish. Now, let me move around this spot to kind of give you an idea, because I do have several marks around in this area. You can see here just a little bit of stuff right there. Hard bottom, a little bit of rocks, but not a ton. But see, I don't even have that one marked. So I'll mark that one. I was close to it, but the more marks that I have in an area, the more I like it, because then I can get set up in different ways. But as you can see, this right here, this is what I'm talking about. This structure, this hard bottom, is what I'm talking about right there. I wasn't even fishing that, but just that little bit of stuff right there is showing me that just that little obscure little spot. See, there's another spot right there. I think I may have that one marked though. But anything that looks out of the ordinary, stop and fish it. It doesn't hurt to fish it. As I've said in the past, and I'll say it probably again in the future, if it looks different, stop and fish it, because you never know what's down there. See, I'm already finding new spots right there. So I'll mark that. And folks, a lot of times what will happen is I'll sit here and I'll mark these spots, but I'll never fish them. And then one day I'll come back to them and go, oh, I forgot that I have this marked. I'll come by and take a look at it. And even though I may have it marked, most of the time it means that I haven't fished it a lot, or have never fished it. So again, if I'm going by a number, especially if they're 300 or below, I'm gonna stop and fish them, because that means I probably haven't fished them in a long, long time. And just like that, you find a new spot. It's a grunt, but grunts are always good. One thing I'll do when the tide is moving like this is I'll flip the bail, let more line out. I'll actually pop the bait up and then let it hit the bottom. And when it does that, it creates a sand poof and it gets the fish riled up down there. And that's exactly what I did. Still not the biggest fish, but you know what? Doesn't matter to me. I found a new spot, and that's important. That's key. It's finding another spot. But what I'll do is I'll go through the motions of when I get the boat or get the bait back, because like I said, we're sitting off the structure. The structure is behind the boat because the tide's coming in, and I'm having to bounce the bait back, bounce it back, and then I get to a certain area and boom, I get bit. So what I'll do is I'll pull the bait up like this, let it go back, flip the bail, let it hit the bottom, come tight on it. And I'll continue to do that until I get back to the strike zone, and then I'll get bit. But I continuously, when this tide's moving like this, I work it back. I let that tide, when I pick up that bait, that tide's gonna push it back even farther. So I just keep working it back until I get bit. So that's key, is when this tide's running, take advantage of the tide, set up tide of the structure, and work your bait back to that structure. Now on a ripping tide, those fish like to sit on the bottom and not move very much, so it's a lot more difficult to get them to bite. But this is a slow tide, so it's a moderate tide, so I'm able to work my bait back like that, and it works like wonders. And just like that, you work it back and you get a better fish. Just because you're catching small fish doesn't mean that there's not big fish down there. I always tell people that, especially on a major or minor, when you're coming up to one and you're catching a bunch of small fish, don't hesitate to stay, because what happens is, even though this fish is much bigger, but they fight much harder, is if you're on a spot and you're catching a lot of small fish but you're coming up to a major or minor, stay there, because those big fish will start biting. That's exactly what happened to us last week. We were catching a lot of smaller fish, and as soon as that major started, or we caught it on the back half, the big ones moved in, and it was like every bait down, boom, boom, boom. So if you're catching small fish, don't leave, especially if you're coming up to a minor or major. Work through the small fish to get to the big fish, because what will happen is those small fish will come in, they'll eat, then the other fish will come in like snapper, then they'll eat, then all of a sudden the group will move in. So you got to be patient sometimes at some of these spots. Got her gagged. See, being patient pays off sometimes. If I know that I'm catching small fish, I know that there's big fish down there. You just got to weed through those small ones. Getting better. Well, folks, I think that about does it for the Friday fishing forecast. I hope everybody has a great Memorial Day weekend. I want to say thank you to all the veterans out there that risk your life to continue to make this country free. I can't say enough about those people. I have family members that have passed away in service, so I want to thank you for your service. And you know, this weekend's for you guys, and if you get a chance, get out there and fish, because it's going to be beautiful. I want to thank everybody for all of the support. I can't thank you enough. It's awesome. I just don't know what else to say. It's just, I'm continuing to meet new people every week that come by the shop. It's just so cool to meet new people and to really, you know, help touch lives and help get people out on the water and enjoy the water and enjoy catching fish, because that's what we all love to do, is go out, catch fish, and have fun. If you haven't stopped by our website, stop by our website at tampabayfishingchannel.com. We have everything that we have to offer for sale on there, from jigs to braided line, fluorocarbon, everything. So if you get a chance, stop by there. If you're in the Tampa area, son of a biscuit, if you're in the Tampa area, stop by Southeastern Fishing Tackle. They have a bunch of our jigs, and so stop by there, support them. That's where I got this Penn Battle 3. It's a Penn Battle 3, and I got to tell you, It is one strong reel. Can't say enough about it. Thank you to Southeastern Fishing Tackle for, I bought it from them. They didn't give it to me, but I bought it from them because I like to do that. I like to support the businesses that support me. Again, thank you very much. Fish more, catch more, and we'll see you on the flip side.